honors thesis. Before we get started, I just wanted to say a few words. If you see me holding my book, I just don't want to forget things or people. Tonight is kind of crazy that it's actually happening. This is something that I've been wanting to do for about a year. Chris knows my honors thesis changed probably like 5 times in the process. I wish Katie McGurr were here. She'd be able to say the same thing. But first, I wanted to start with how I got the idea for this project. Again, I've been wanting to do this for about a year. This came to me last summer. Funny enough, when I'm in shows, I suddenly become a reader. So I was reading Pete Townsend, who's the principal composer and guitarist of The Who. I was reading his autobiography, Who I Am. And there was this really interesting chapter where he talked about his relationship with Eric Clapton, the famous guitarist known for his work in Cream and the Yardbirds, as well as his years and years of solo work. And there was this chapter talking about Eric Clapton's horrible, horrible heroin addiction that he had. And so back in the 60s and 70s, within mod rock culture, especially in England, it was really normalized for these older men to kind of manipulate and date and be in love with quote-unquote these baby groupies, is what they were called. And so these would be 12 to 16-year-old women, minors who would get so caught up in the rock and roll culture and the glamour and the fun and the money of it all. And so Eric Clapton, who was 20 at the time, was dating this 15-year-old girl. She was unnamed in the book. And they had this horrible heroin addiction together. And so Pete Townsend was actually called one day by one of the other band members of the Yardbirds that he was friends with to go and kind of give an intervention to Eric Clapton and this girl. It didn't work. They continued their heroin use for the next 5 years. And the 15-year-old girl actually died at age 20. And Eric Clapton is still alive today, making music and touring and getting to live through his legacy that he's been creating for the past 50, 60, 70 years since his birth. And so then I started to think, how many women like this young girl got wrapped up in that kind of lifestyle and whose stories never got to be told? And so then I started thinking about how we as women of the 21st century can take back this genre. This genre was never meant for us. This genre was never built for us or made for us to be viewed as intelligent or worthy or anything more than just bodies or pretty faces. And so I wanted to create something that would help redefine rock and roll and help us take it back going forward. It's really cool in 2024 to see how some women have already been doing that. But doing it here at Syracuse University, especially in an incredible drama department program with so many incredible people who might end up being in some rock jukebox musicals, question mark. I thought this would be a great project for us. So one more thing, I just wanted to say a few thank yous. One is to Marina DeRatneroff. She's not here tonight. She is out of town and ill, but she's been the most incredible support system through this. Mark Fitzgerald, who is currently in the booth, if we can give him a hand. He's doing lighting and sound for us tonight. My amazing cast of actors who are incredible. Nikki Smith, I went to her randomly one day after our first survey history test, theater history test, and I said, do you want to do this? And she said yes without even really knowing what it was. Anna has been the most incredible assistant director. All my choreographers, Emily Hobbs, Emma Sucato, and so sorry, Nikki Smith as well. She was the principal choreographer for this. They were just so willing to do so much work on this, and it was incredible. The vision really came out. Greene, who did costume design for the show. It all looks amazing. I want to thank my parents. They're not here, but they'll be watching this video. My mom, who taught me to love hair metal growing up when we would go to tennis tournaments and we'd listen to Dangerous Toys. And she would tell me about how her best friend used to date the drummer because they were from San Antonio. My father, who, God bless this man, we would sit in the car every single time we drove somewhere together, and especially when we moved, driving hours and hours back and forth from Dallas to Austin. And he would just listen to these Genesis albums with me. I'm a lifelong Genesis fan, and he would sit there for these 18 to 20-minute songs and let me tell him where they were in the world when they were recording this, who was fighting, what tree that this lyric is about, all the stupid stuff. And then I would like to invite Chris Albright-Tufts. I don't know if you're in a position to come up here, but Chris Albright-Tufts was my advisor for this, and she's been so incredible. Thank you so All right, I will shut up, but again, thank you so much for being here. It's a beautiful day for some rock and roll. Yeah? We'll get started. Thank you.
Patty, do you think you can ever live the life of a normal housewife now?
Yes, of course. If you are not.
Are you going to stay out of the limelight?
Yes.
Out of your own choice?
Yes.
And what about the family? How many children do you want to have?
About 3.
39. You look at tape. Can I have
some critics say the new album
stinks.
No, they would say it's a terrific record. I think it's a terrific record.
Stinks. Why to the next one?
Some of them say the record is sexist and possibly racist. What do you say about that?
The next one's going to be more racist and more sexist, and it's going to be a whole bunch better.
What do to your head?
You know, you think it's obviously what we got in this for in the first place. Anybody who tells you the story of wanting to impart some greater knowledge to humanity is really not really telling the truth. The reason we first started strumming guitars is because we wanted women, and lots of them. And their daughters.
It's great.
And probably their granddaughters.
It's really great. It's kind of like being at a buffet where everything is laid out and you don't have to take this or this or this, but it's all there to be eaten if you want it.
And so Jackie said that.
I mean, we're stuck with this terrible irony of, being wonderfully sex-driven creatures and, being forbidden. Just like the Garden of Eden. I was criticized sometimes, mostly by men. They just thought it was a con, and that I was trying to get away with something, that I was a lousy singer, a lousy musician, a terrible writer, and that I had some nerve being up on stage in the first place. That was basically how I was looked upon, what I did. And if I did anything that was overtly sexual, I was really, my God, she let her underpants show. So what? I lifted my leg up, so what? Everywhere.
Hall of Fame has removed one of its founders, that would be Jan Winter, from its board of directors, after what he made some very, how shall we say, controversial comments about black and female performers. Vlad Dutier is here to tell us what Winter said, why he apologized for it. Vlad, good morning to you.
Good morning. This is unbelievable in 2023, but Jan Winter told the New York Times that there aren't any important black or female musicians who are well-spoken enough to be featured in his new book, a collection of interviews with those he considers giants of rock and roll.
Well, look at the camera. You look good. And just tell us who you are. Just introduce yourself to us.
Hey, my name is Morgan Karam.
Hi, my name is Anna Stanley.
Hey, I'm Sophie Snider.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Thurber.
Hi, I'm Clarq Benet.
Hi, I'm Emily Sucato.
Hi, I'm Nikki Smith. Hi, I'm Jaelynn Ricks.
Hi, my name is Kailee Brandt.
Beautiful.
Hi, Anna. Who are your favorite rock stars?
My favorite rock stars?
My favorite rock stars. So many. Some of my favorite rock stars are Janis Joplin and Heart.
Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac. Always, forever.
Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac, I'll be.
Fleetwood Mac love.
I think my favorite rock stars are Hart and Pat Benatar.
Honestly, I don't listen to a lot of rock. I just like Tina Turner.
I mean, I love Tina Turner's music. I grew up on things like Proud Mary.
My mom and I used to sit in the car and blast Proud Mary and sing at the top of our lungs.
Oh, Van Halen. Queen is super good. Okay.
Joan Jett, love her.
Sometimes I listen to Nirvana though, then I guess that's considered rock.
The Rolling Stones, AC/DC is a classic in my family. I love Alice in Chains.
You know, I know of Elvis, king of rock and roll.
He's king of rock and roll, right?
Yes. Okay, great. Like cow. Big cow. Okay, awesome. I'm kind of discovering Janis Joplin right now.
Oh, Jimi Hendrix.
ELO, Electric Light Orchestra. Love them too.
What are they?
ELO. I like their music, I promise. Please don't use that question. Oh my god. We will.
When you walk into the bar, I'm the first one you're gonna see. Business and pleasure just don't mix, so can I take your order, please? You fellas know I don't take no mess. There's a whole in this dress. Oh, they call me the root toot, undisputable rock and roller. I got a fine Fanny, but a rough talking Annie, rock and roller. Oh, yeah. When I hear that jukebox play, I get on the floor. Troublemaker, come my way, and I will gladly show the door. Everybody knows to keep their cool, 'cause I'm fresh out of the karate school. Oh, they call me the root toot, undisputable rock and roller. I got a fine Fanny, but a rough talking Annie, rock and roller. Oh, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Sophie, can you tell us about Kim McLagan?
Yeah, so Kim McLagan was an icon of the 1960s fashion and media. However, her career was often forgotten because of her relationship with Keith Moon, the famous drummer of The Who. She survived an extremely abusive relationship with him, and she deserved a lot better. She eventually found it with Ian McLagan, and he is the keyboardist for the Small Faces, but unfortunately she passed away in a car accident in 2006.
Why should we tell her story?
Unfortunately, Kim's life is a very real portrayal of the dark side of rock and roll. Young girls getting caught up in the fast, glamorous lifestyle, not knowing how to get out. Rock and roll essentially ruined her life. I'm inspired by how she did find her way out, and I think that it's important we honor her and tell her story.
Kissed by the sea, only love can
music means to you?
What does rock mean to me? Rock means to me,
especially women in rock, is like being able to express yourself musically in a way that's so wild and like a wild abandonment kind of energy.
Being really big.
You're not judging yourself or afraid of how you sound.
It has a lot of rough edges that don't need to be smoothed out. If they are smoothed out, it takes out the like unique part of rock.
One thing that makes rock really cool to me is that it's such like a uniquely American art form, a country that's divided by like everything, like arts and sports. Are like two things that bring us together?
Being innovative. I think rock is about the next thing.
And it was something that always intrigued me, but I don't think it ever really meant anything to me. I don't know that much about rock music.
I remember like the first time I got into something that was more like alt. I remember feeling so cool. Like it just gives like cool to me.
Like rock is something that I can listen to with my family. It's something that connects me to my mom and my dad.
When I think about rock, I think about my dad.
I've always grown up listening to my parents' music,
especially because they were born and grew up in that era of heavy rock music. I feel like it's something that brings us closer.
My dad taught me everything I know about rock.
I'm kind of like, man, I wish I had listened to more rock growing up, or
groove, rock now.
I used to carry a gram of cocaine in my boot at all times. And it was the first thing I thought of when I woke up in the morning, and the last thing I thought of before I went to bed. So 1976, that's when I remember being more aware of cocaine. And it was appearing in a way where somebody would just give you a little bit, and you'd be like, oh, cool, I have a little energy now. And that was really what it was. So then you have a hit of coke, and then you're too nervous. And then you're too nervous, so then you say, well, then I'll have a little shot of brandy. And then you feel like maybe you're a little teeny bit drunk. And then, so you'll have another hit of coke, because then that's gonna make you not so drunk. So I'm looking, towards going into 1977, going into the making of Rumors. Then cocaine really started appearing, and you start buying it. And that's what makes it different, is, if you buy it, then you're buying it. And if you're buying it, you're doing it. So we were doing it. And that's what happened. And the cycle then just escalates. So.
she make you cry, make you break down, and shatter your illusions of love. Now tell me, is it over now? Do you know how to pick up the pieces and go home? And go home. Gold does a woman.
Women, to be in the music business, give up more than you'd ever know. She's got kids she gave up. Any woman gives up home life, an old man probably, because you're so crazy on planes and boogie and you never find them again. You give up a home and friends. You give up children and friends. You give up an old man and friends. You give up any constant in the world except music. That's the only thing you got, man. After you boil it down, the only thing you got left in the world is that music, man. And so
Emma, can you tell us why Janis Joplin? Why A Woman Left Lonely?
I chose to choreograph to A Woman Left Lonely by Janis Joplin because what strikes me about her is that she sung about topics in such a raw and authentic way that were typically taboo amongst female musicians, and she was the first great female rocker of our time. And for me as a choreographer, what's so exciting to dance to Woman Left Lonely for is that, you know, she expresses herself in such a raw and visceral way, and as a dancer, that makes it just more exciting to dance to that kind of music.
Woman left lonely will soon grow tired of waiting. She'll do crazy things, yeah, on lonely occasions. A simple conversation with a new man now and again makes a touchy situation when the good things come to an end. And when she gets lonely, she's thinking about her. She knows he's taking her, honey, she doesn't understand. No, no, no.
Excuse me, it's my part. Oh no, I think it's my song. No, remember we rehearsed this?
Clarq, are you confused?
No, guys, we talked about this.
Oh. Sorry. Sorry.
It's cool. Hi, everyone. I'm Clarq. I sang the opening number, the Tina Turner song. But maybe you forgot about that, too. But you know, that seems to be a pattern in this industry, huh? People of color performers being forgotten. But sorry to interrupt the performance. Actually, I'm not sorry, because I think this is something that needs to be talked about, and I want to get it right. So let's have a conversation. When Emily asked me to be a part of this project, I was so excited, because I love Tina Turner. I think I've said that multiple times tonight, but I just wanted that to be out there again. Other than her, though, I honestly didn't know a lot about rock, let alone female rock artists, and especially female rock artists of color. These women have been buried in the very history they built. How many of you know who Elvis Presley is? Yeah? King of rock and roll? What about Mick Jagger? Oh, yeah, I see it. Steven Tyler, David Lee Roth, David Bowie, Bono. Awesome. Well, what about Laverne Barker? Did you know that Laverne Barker was the second female solo act to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Funny that she wasn't inducted until 1991, when Elvis was inducted in 1986, especially after he recorded covers of 8 of her hit songs that became album favorites. Want to hear something else about Elvis? Elvis didn't even write his own music. Shocking. But you know who did? Several incredible Black people. Hound Dog was written by Big Mama Thornton, often considered the matriarch of early rock and roll. All Shook Up was written by Otis Blackwell, who was a leading figure in rock and roll music, but hardly gets talked about. What about Buddy Guy, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, John Lee Hooker, Howlin' Wolf, or Odetta? I bet you all know the Ronettes, Etta James, Billie Holiday. So there's definitely proof that Black women in rock and roll helped shape the industry, but why can't they be historically acknowledged? Why can't women ever be part of the whole? Why do we always get added into the picture after the fact? Why does society credit women, and furthermore, Black women, as contributors and not as creators? Women are known to stir the pot of industries, hit the ground running with creativity and messiness and experimentation, but only when allowed to do so. I want to move mountains with my art, but as a Black woman, why do I need permission? As a Black woman in the performance industry, I often feel overlooked. Gaining proper recognition and respect for my art is hard sometimes, but my art is just as valid as my white colleagues. My art is just as raw and real and emotional. It has a place in my industry and our world. I grew up learning that hard work always pays off, that constantly trying to better yourself and your community, being a good person will come back to you. History shows us that sometimes that's just not true. But that's where women come in. They don't settle for the way things are. Strong women in my life are why I'm proud of who I am, and strong women who I see in the arts are why I choose to fight every day for my dreams. And to pay them back for the inspiration they have given me, I will keep recognizing those who have paved the way for my voice to be heard. Aretha Franklin, Ella Fitzgerald, LaBelle, the Supremes, Mary Clayton, the Shirelles, Betty Davis, Dinah Washington, Nina Simone, Sarah Vaughan. I wish this world could view these women as I see them, not just commercial success, but women who were unapologetically themselves in an industry that wasn't built for them, but instead built because of them. That is why we must continue to acknowledge and thank Black artists, female Black artists, artists of color, any race, gender, or ethnicity who shaped our world for the better, actually. One day, I hope when someone thinks of someone powerful who's female and performs, someone thinks of the name Clarq Benet.
was Patty Boyd?
Patty Boyd is an English model during the 1960s. She was a rock and roll groupie, and she is famously known for marrying George Harrison and Eric Clapton.
Morgan, why should we remember Patty Boyd?
We should remember Patty Boyd for not just the men that she dated. During that time, she was very heavily sexualized, and I think that's unfortunate because she was a woman with her own interests, and she wasn't just defined by the men that she was with at that time. She had a passion for photography, she was a fertility advocate, and so many other things that make her Patty Boyd, so this song is dedicated to Patty Boyd.
She wasn't the it girl anymore, now that women of real brains and talent were the prize. She just couldn't compete. Harry wasn't the one who changed the rules.
We pretty women
femininity in rock. Do you think that women have a place in rock music?
I think that women have a place everywhere.
I think women have a place everywhere.
I think that there's a place for femininity in everything.
I definitely think women have a place in rock.
Definitely in rock. There's so many female icons that are in rock, you know, like, hello.
I definitely think there's a place for it.
Femininity is just a natural part of humanity. I think everybody has an ebbs and flows of femininity in them.
There is a place for it, but that the box is small.
I think that it's definitely something that is male-dominated.
More male-dominated field.
Male-dominated?
I do listen to like more male-dominated rock if I'm listening to rock.
Like the ratio is like kind of crazy.
Women have had a harder time kind of proving themselves in rock just because I think rock is it's a very like masculine, it's even a little bit of like toxic masculinity kind of. I guess that's just how I perceived it.
When I think of femininity in rock, I think of men, ironically enough.
First thing I think of are kind of those groupies and women viewed as the side person to this male rock star.
Being the muse.
So when you first asked me that question, I couldn't really think of a female rock person that came to mind.
A lot of the times it becomes like sexualized.
Maybe being a sexual object.
People don't take women as seriously when it comes to men in rock music.
A lot of it was like very censored of how they could express themselves.
I think that the ideal feminine person isn't seen as someone that fits within the rock world.
But I think there are also some really amazing female rock artists like Joan Jett. I mean, she basically like created the rock and roll anthem.
I love Debbie Harry because she completely changed how women in rock and roll were viewed in society. So did Nancy Wilson.
I don't know, I just really love their songs Alone and If Looks Could Kill.
Her sister, Chrissy Hines.
I think I gotta go with the Pretenders. You know, Emily put Braxton Pocket on my birthday playlist last year, and I loved listening to that song. Chrissy Hines is awesome.
It's Joan Jett. Anyway, in the 80s, women in rock and roll were commercialized, and that was super powerful.
The way we need no time of your
think so. I think rock music is still alive.
Yes. I think that rock music can never die, honestly.
I think it's still alive. I know plenty of people listen to it today. I know Emily listens to it for one. There are people like me who love it now. People are always shocked that I listen to such vintage music.
People of our generation just loving like classic rock, which so many of us do, I know.
And there are people like my parents who taught their kids about it. I want to teach people about it.
There's always going to be someone.
It's different than how it was. Like, I wouldn't particularly think it's like the biggest mainstream art form that it used to be.
But I don't know if it's alive in the same mainstream way it once was.
It's definitely different than it used to be.
I don't know if it's as popular as like the pop music on the radio now,
But maybe not in the way that it was previously, but I think it's evolved. It is evolving.
But that's the point, right? It's supposed to be innovative and it's supposed to be changing. And
I think that rock is always the cutting edge of whatever is coming next.
I think rock has influenced the way we think about country music now and pop music.
You're seeing more rock elements intermingled with other genres, and I think that's really cool.
And I think there are certain artists that are trying to keep it alive. Like, I look at Miley Cyrus, and I think she does a really good job of that.
I'm thinking of Miley Cyrus.
Just did, what is it, Heart of Glass?
Like, people like Olivia Rodrigo are like our generation's Avril Lavigne.
And I hope to pass on the same fun rock songs that I love to my kids one day.
Rock will never die, I promise.
In the future of rock music?
That's such a good question.
How do I envision myself in the future of rock music? Well, I wish I could say that I want to be a rock star. I totally won't be, but I wish I was.
I don't think I do envision myself in the future of rock music. I feel like there's a rock musical. I'd love to dip my toes into that.
We have jukebox musicals now, and I'd love to be a part of one of those, doing a show. Hey, if there's ever a jukebox musical that uses rock music, I will absolutely be auditioning for it.
There's such a release in creating and performing rock, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that could come out of me, but it's because there's this heartbeat under it that just drives it.
My future with rock music is mostly in the shower.
It's something that I want to learn more about and be more well versed in,
because there's this whole history that I can discover.
Rock music to me is intimidating just because of
It's something I've never explored personally.
Maybe I'll listen to some every once in a while.
I hope I start listening to it more.
My future in rock music is providing that music to my kids and showing them the music that my parents grew up on, but also the music that I grew up on.
Because rock is about the way it makes you feel. It's about loving other people and about hating other people, and it's about the human experience. I think the human experience in regards to the binary is completely changing, and I think when that enters the rock world, possibilities are endless. I don't know.
Celebrating and learning about this art form with a group of my super talented peers has been so exciting because you can see rock in every single one of us, I think.
Rock still lives on in me through Janis Joplin's spirit. I'm inspired by her unapologetic self, and I now perform as my most authentic self.
Ever since I heard Miley Cyrus cover Heart of Glass, I really wanted to sing it, and I loved the Blondie version, not even knowing the original existed until now.
I discovered that I love rock music. The Pretenders are a new favorite on my playlist.
I learned that you don't need one type of voice to sing rock music. Rock is about sharing your own truthful, unique voice.
I didn't realize how much rock I actually listened to because I always thought rock was one thing. But through this process, I realized how much rock has influenced me and how multidimensional it truly is.
Rock music will continue to live on through my life as my parents passed it down to me, and one day, hopefully, I'll pass it down to my kids.
Rock music will live on through my awesome new playlist, and I can't wait to show my parents all my new knowledge of rock and bond with them over the music of their time.
I was reminded how influential rock music was for me growing up. If it wasn't for my dad introducing me to Foo Fighters, Nirvana, Blink-182, I wouldn't have done them until now. And so I really appreciate it looking back.
I still love Tina Turner. I now have a newfound appreciation for all the work she's done for women of color in rock and women in rock. Look at all of us out here today. I think we have rock in all of us. And rock is for everyone.
You don't know for sure. You don't feel like